Have you ever met someone so convinced of their own brilliance they'd risk everything to prove it? In the heart of a dusty antique shop in Hanoi, Hoa stood tall, her voice booming with self-proclaimed expertise. She called herself a historian, her words dripping with confidence as she haggled over a jade vase she swore was a 12th century relic. The shopkeeper, a wiry old man named Mr. Tran, raised an eyebrow, but played along, his lips twitching with amusement. Hoa's friends, a tight-knit group of art enthusiasts, watched in awe as she spun tales of ancient dynasties, her hands gesturing wildly to emphasize the vase's historical significance. But something felt off. The vase gleamed a little too perfectly, its edges too smooth for an artifact centuries old. Hoa didn't notice. She was too busy basking in her own narrative, oblivious to the storm brewing. Hoa's obsession with being the center of attention wasn't new. She'd always been the loudest in their group, quick to claim expertise on any topic, from pottery to politics. This time, though, she'd crossed a line. Months earlier, she'd stumbled across an article about rare Vietnamese relics fetching millions at auctions. Her eyes lit up with greed, not for history's sake, but for the status it could bring her. She spent weeks researching just enough to sound convincing, then declared herself a historian to her friends. They believed her, or at least humored her, dazzled by her confidence. When she heard about Mr. Tran's shop, rumored to house treasures from the Lai dynasty, she saw her chance to shine. "I'll get us a deal no one else could," she bragged, dragging her friends along for the spectacle. In the shop, Hoa's performance was a masterclass in arrogance. She pointed at the jade vase, declaring it a royal heirloom, with such conviction that even skeptical Mr. Tran seemed momentarily swayed. "This is worth millions," she insisted, offering half the asking price. Her friends nodded, impressed, though one Lin, a quiet librarian with a knack for spotting lies, frowned. She'd read about forgeries in the relic trade but stayed silent, not wanting to challenge Hoa's spotlight. Mr. Tran, sensing an opportunity, agreed to Hoa's price with surprising ease. "A historian like you deserves a deal," he said, his tone suspiciously warm. Hoa beamed, handing over a stack of cash she'd borrowed from her savings, certain she'd secured a fortune. But the truth was far uglier. The vase wasn't a relic, it was a cheap replica, one of dozens Mr. Tran kept for tourists who thought they could outsmart him. He'd seen people like Hoa before, self-styled experts who let ego blind them to obvious fakes. The vase's glaze was modern, its carvings too uniform, but Hoa's research had missed those details. She was too focused on her victory, parading the vase before her friends like a trophy. Lin, however, couldn't stay quiet anymore. "Hoa, have you checked the markings?" she asked softly, pointing to the vase's base. Hoa scoffed, brushing her off. "I know what I'm doing," she snapped, but Lin's question planted a seed of doubt in the group. Whispers spread as they examined the vase closer, noticing its suspiciously pristine condition. The tension exploded when Hoa, eager to prove her expertise, demanded another relica bronze statue she claimed was from the same dynasty. Mr. Tran, now openly smirking, handed it over for a fraction of its value. Hoa's friends watched, torn between loyalty and unease. That's when an unexpected figure emerged from the shop's shadows. Min, a local archaeologist who'd been quietly browsing. He'd overheard Hoa's boasts and couldn't resist stepping in. "That statue's not even a decade old," he said, his voice calm but cutting. He pointed out the statue's machine-made grooves, a dead giveaway of modern craftsmanship. Hoa's face reddened as Min dismantled her claims, revealing her historical knowledge as a patchwork of half-read articles. Her friends gasped, some stifling laughter, as the truth hit. It wasn't a historian, she was a fraud. The shop became a battleground. Hoa cornered double down. "You're all jealous," she shouted, clutching the statue. In a fit of defiance, she slammed it onto the counter, expecting to prove its durability. Instead, it shattered, revealing a hollow, plastic core. The room fell silent, then erupted. Her friends, once loyal, couldn't hold back their laughter. Even Lin, usually reserved, chuckled as Hoa's facade crumbled. Mr. Tran, barely hiding his glee, admitted the truth. I sell fakes to people who think they're smarter than me. He'd played HOA perfectly, letting her ego lead her to ruin. She'd spent thousands on worthless trinkets, her savings gone, her reputation in tatters. Hoa's downfall was swift and brutal. Her friends, humiliated by association, turned on her. You lied to us, one said, shaking her head. Another, emboldened by Min's revelations, called her out for borrowing money to fund her scheme. HOA tried to argue, but her voice faltered as the group walked out, leaving her alone with a broken statue and a worthless vase. Mr. Tran, counting her money, offered no sympathy. Next time, study harder, he said, turning away. HOA stood frozen, the weight of her hubris crushing her. She'd wanted to be a legend. Instead, she was a cautionary tale. Yet from the ashes of Hoa's humiliation came an unexpected spark. Lin, inspired by Min's expertise, began studying archaeology herself, determined to honor history rather than exploit it. She shared the story online, not to shame HOA, but to warn others about the dangers of unchecked pride. Her post went viral, sparking debates about authenticity and greed. HOA, meanwhile, vanished from the group, too embarrassed to face them. Some say she's still chasing relics, but others believe she's learned her lesson, quietly rebuilding her life. What do you think? Can someone like HOA redeem themselves? Or is pride too heavy a burden to shake off? Share your thoughts below.